And we are at the FIBO in Cologne, Germany, continuing on with our Franchise Check series, deep diving on all 16 franchises of the European League of Football for the 2025 season. And sitting a mere inches away from me, of course, as always, Matt Bressington, the #1 expert in all things ELF, probably in the entire world, Matt. And we're going to continue on in the Western Division, taking a look at the Cologne Centurions. This is a very interesting squad. They were kind of fun to watch last year, finishing at 6-6. Let's dive into them, starting off with the history of this franchise.
Now this is a very interesting team. Like, you may think of it, let me just jog your memory. Madre London in the first year.
True.
Cologne Centurion, the first ever league MVP. 2022 they didn't really do much, I'm not going to lie. 2023 though, they had such a wasted talent on that team. Their offense was diabolical, but they had DeJohn Owens, Chad Warren, Zach Blair, Jai Jackson, Yannick Venke, Lawrence Vance. Like, there are so many amazing players on that defense, but their offense was absolutely awful. They had a really top forward in total yards for defensively. They allowed 10th in points because their offense just always ruined them in these positions.
One of the great tragedies in life is wasted potential.
Absolutely. And then 2024, what a weird year for them. They were a fun team. They went 6-6, the biggest comeback in ELF history.
True.
Against the Frankfurt Galaxy. One of the most fun teams. You never really knew what you were going to get. They were going to lose by 40 or win in a crazy shootout, and they ended up going 500, which was their best they've ever done. They've never been above 500.
Right. So finishing at 6-6 last year was the best they've ever done. Like you said, man, I mean, they were unpredictable, but damn it, were they not fun. I think Isaiah Weed and Carlos Hill were two of my favorite players to watch in the league. Really, really fun, unpredictable sort of players there. All right, with that being said, let's take a look then at what they're going to kind of look like this season, but also starting off with some of the departures, some of those key players who are no longer with the team.
Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned both of them by names, almost as if you predicted it. Carlos Hill and Isaiah Weed. We'll start with Isaiah Weed. Such an unpredictable player. You're either getting NFL MVP Isaiah Weed, or you're getting 8th tier of German Football League Isaiah Weed. There's no in between. You're getting one of them. You don't get to pick, and it might differentiate between every single player.
My man had the broadest range of performances in the entire ELF.
He really does. Sometimes he's throwing a beautiful piece, and then the other time he's thrown into triple coverage and getting picked off. He's unpredictable, but damn is he fun to watch. Like,
fun to watch.
Really fun to watch. And then Carlos Hill is fun to watch for a different reason. Blazing speed, so fast, such a good deep threat. Some of the best ball tracking I've ever seen in the ELF. There's one play against Cologne where he's turning his head left, right, and center. The ball's a bit shaky. Somehow finds it with like his back bent like 90 degrees, catches it behind his back. Incredible player.
Dude, if you watch ELF, I think all of us probably have like a favorite Carlos Hill play in our minds. One of mine from last year is when they played against Frankfurt, and he just came up on this little bubble screen, made the tackle, forced the fumble, recovered the fumble for a 50-yard scoop and score. Does a backflip in the end zone. I was calling that game and I'm screaming my head off. This guy, he's really fun to watch, but he's gone. So, well, let's talk about some of the positives. How about some of the players that they were able to retain, perhaps?
Yeah, so they haven't really got any, I'm going to be honest. We've got some players they're going to have in the future.
Okay.
Because the list of them retaining players isn't a thing. They really haven't done much, and I'll talk about that at the end, but here's the players they have got coming in. And now this is going to be a difficult one to analysis, because Jeremy Musa, I like what he brings. He is a little bit like Isaiah Weed out of South Florida. He's a good player. Whether or not he can thrive behind this offensive line, I think is a completely different story. I do not like this offensive line at all. They do have Austin Osborne coming in from the GFL. He's not Carlos Hill. He's a little bit bigger, a little bit more physical. I think they're going to try and get him the ball short and intermediate, just pick up those possession gains. Jai Jackson. People have paid him in a lot in the wrong positions. He's lacked a lot of production in the ELF. He's been here for years and hasn't popped off until Barcelona last season, because people will play him at defensive end, which I strongly disagree with. You get him in as a pass rusher, keep him explosive, don't have him as an every play defensive lineman, and he can make an impact. But he needs to be rested and explosive. And then Alex Alchus, another edge rusher, which is a little odd. I'm not sure if they're going to play him at outside linebacker or if they're going to try and move Jai into a three-point stance, which I really don't want them to do, but we'll find out. It's a strangely built team.
Strangely built. That's a nice way of putting it. All right. With that being said, then let's take a look at their schedule for 2025. Now, Matt, you and I are going to go through this, and we're going to try and predict the outcomes of these games. Of course, I'll take the front half, you take the back half. Starting off with the Berlin Thunder. And, you know, I think that there could be a little bit of competition here, but I'm going to go ahead and have them drop to the Berlin Thunder. It's going to be a loss. Raiders T-Roll. I just think they're going to be a little bit too strong, and they're going to also lose that game. Frankfurt Galaxy, Matthew McKay coming back. Could have a little bit of competition. We saw some nice games from between these two teams last year, but I think they're going to drop that to the Frankfurt Galaxy. Panthers. Gosh. DJ Irons, one of your favorite players in the league.
Absolutely.
I think they're going to take over, and they're going to beat Cologne, so we're going to drop that one as well. Stuttgart Surge, of course, which I have no implicit bias towards. This is a completely objective opinion. They will also lose to. And Paris Musketeers, I mean, we were just talking about them, man. This is a tough division. I have them also losing that. I have them starting off this season 0-6. Now, let's not get too disappointed here, because remember, last year they started off pretty badly and they fought their way back to 500.
They did.
So what do you have for the back half of the season?
All right, well, we're going to start with the Panthers. Right? It's a tough team. You've got AJ Wendland, you've got Dan Burrell. It's a tough defense. I don't think they've got enough to overcome it. So I think it's going to be an L on their schedule there. And then they go with Berlin. You know, Berlin have a couple pieces. You know, we talked about Neville Kruger, the impact he has. I think he might be a problem for them. So I might go for an L here as well. It's a tough one to predict, that one. Galaxy, two very strong defensive backs. And I think that's going to cause a lot of issues for the quarterback. We'll go with another L on the Galaxy. I love Paris as much as the next man, so we'll go for another L there. Stuttgart, now this one could be close. I've still got a very talented team. But I'm still going to go for an L, I think, on that one.
Not looking good,
man.
It's not looking good.
And then we got the Raiders Tyrrell. It's the last game of the season. You know, everyone's on the line. It's this or never. And it's going to be never, because they're going to lose again on the last day of the season.
Matt, well, this is what we like to call a bloodbath, okay?
And we're in Cologne as well, so we might get jumped if anyone sees this.
Yeah, this is not good. This is kind of what I've been seeing in the stock market lately. Complete red every single day. Cologne, sorry that this is what we've got for you, but look, that's a kind of a gauntlet of a schedule. It's seriously a tough schedule.
It is, yeah.
And you know, maybe they surprise us. Maybe they do get some pieces together and they surprise us. But right now, from what we've seen so far, if we had to make these predictions right now, I just don't find them winning. Maybe they surprise us on one of these games, man, but I don't know. What would have to happen, Matt, for this to not happen, for them to not go 0-12?
I think my questions are with the E's that they picked, right? You get 6 Europeans that are not from your country. So you got 6 Europeans that are not from Germany. You've got to allocate those in very specific positions. It could be to create strengths in other places. It could be to cover up weaknesses. They've got one in the receiver position. I'm going to tell you where he's from, Nick. He is from, as far as I'm aware, was playing in the 6th tier of German football last season.
So he's gone from GFL 6 to E-Import.
That's correct.
That's a big jump.
That is a big
I don't know
jump.
if we've ever seen a jump that big.
No, he was playing in Kiel Hurricanes a couple years back, but I can't really find much production from him, to be honest. They've got a tight end who I don't think is a top 3 Dutch tight end, which is, you know, is something. They've got a Brazilian right tackle. You know, there's a lot of Brazilians in the league, but I'm just not sure about that one. Muchnai, he's a solid defensive tackle, but guess what? He's not playing defensive tackle. He's playing both ways.
Whoa.
Travis Hunter style. Except stamina was an issue, and the consistency of being a 4-down lineman was an issue when he was playing D-line, and now he's got to play both ways. It's questionable. I like Jai Jackson, but if you're going to have an edge rusher, pure edge rusher, you need to have a good defensive line. Otherwise, he's not going to be able to thrive. And then Richard, I love him as well at cornerback, but he's more of a nickel player. He's not going to lock up a number 1 receiver. They need all of these guys to really prove me wrong and like show out, because I'm a little bit worried about Cologne this season.
There you have it. Cologne, use this as bulletin board material and prove us wrong. Make Matt and I look silly for picking you guys to go 0-12. That's the franchise check for the Cologne Centurions from the FIBO.